Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. Raw, Monday night, November 25th, 2013, from Long Island, New York. It sucked. Again. And I get the feeling that I'm going to be saying that a lot for a while. God damn. I am so sick of having to record this and be all down but when they give me shit to work with, just nothing but shit. As I said before, I've been trying to stay positive lately about things, but there's nothing to stay positive about here tonight, folks. This show sucked. The show starts and Roberts, the ring announcer, introduces Randy Orton, who comes out to hardly any reaction, by the way. He talks a little bit and he introduces Triple H and Stephanie, and they come out also to hardly any reaction. They talk back and forth, and the crowd, which was probably the best thing about this show, the crowd starts chanting for Daniel Bryan, and then they start chanting, "Yes, yes." There's more bitching from Randy, and Cena's music hits, and out he comes. And he essentially says, "We're both champions, and I think it's about time there was only one champion." And he suggests a match to essentially unify the World Heavyweight and WWE titles. Him versus Orton, one-on-one, to unify the titles. And Randy doesn't like it, but too bad for him. Triple H and Stephanie are like, "Yeah, we've actually been talking about that for a while now." And Randy's like, "Oh, so that's what you were talking about with Cena last night at the pay-per-view." Pretty much. Triple H announces that, sure enough, at the TLC pay-per-view next month, we're going to have a TLC match, Cena versus Orton, and both titles are going to be on the line. They didn't necessarily say it was going to be a unification match, but like I said, they said both titles were going to be on the line. So who knows what the hell's going to happen. It's going to suck no matter what, because either way, we're either going to have Orton as both champions, or we're going to have Cena as both champions. Or they might try to play something stupid and have Randy take the World Heavyweight title and Cena take the WWE title, and they end up switching belts, which would be completely moronic. But the WWE right now is just stupid enough to do something like that, so who knows? Anyways, that boring, lousy segment finally comes to an end. And the announcers, the commentators hype up a 6-man tag match that's going to be up next. And it's going to be Cody Rhodes and Goldust and Rey Mysterio versus The Shield. After announcing that, they cut to a commercial. And when they come back, The Shield are already in the middle of their entrance. But they get in the ring, and then the music hits, and out come Cody and Goldust. And then Mysterio's music hits, and he comes out to hardly any reaction. So the people are just not getting behind like anything tonight. And that trend continues throughout most of the night. I'll spoiler alert for you. But anyways, we get the match. The Shield versus Cody Rhodes and Goldust and Mysterio. It turned out to be decent. There was a commercial break in the middle of it, and what ended up happening was Ray had Rollins set up on the ropes to do the 619. Ray goes and he hits the opposite ropes, and then Reigns comes in and spears the fuck out of Ray as he comes back. Goldust came in to try and get Reigns out, but Goldust winds up getting speared too. And then what happened was Reigns was on the apron, and he ate a disaster kick from Cody, and so Reigns spilled out to the outside of the ring. Cody went to grab Rollins for the crossroads, but Ambrose came up behind Cody, grabbed him by the head, and planted Cody on his fucking head with the headlock driver. And Ambrose and Cody were the legal men, so Ambrose covers Cody for the win. So the Shield wins. Thank God. After that, they hype up Michael Strahan, who's supposed to be the guest host tonight. He's going to be up next. And also, we're doing another ridiculous goddamn app vote for the stipulation between another match between Ziggler and Sandow. And the choices are a street fight, a lumberjack, or a hardcore match. And for some idiotic reason, each of these matches, it wasn't just a street fight or a lumberjack match or a hardcore match. Since they were in Long Island, I think it was a Long Island street fight and a Long Island lumberjack match, or a, what the fuck was it? Where the fuck was it? Oh yeah, a Hamptons hardcore match. That was the other one. So yeah, those are our choices, and they say, you can start voting now. And they cut to a commercial. When we come back, Miz TV is set up in the ring, and Miz is already in the ring. And he goes through his spiel, welcome to Miz TV, whatever the fuck, and then he introduces Michael Strahan, as being this NFL, Super Bowl champion, whatever the fuck. He introduces him and this music starts playing, but out comes Titus O'Neil in a suit with a blacked out gap, essentially, in his two front teeth. And he gets in the ring, and he's basically supposed to be Michael Strahan. They're making fun of him, whatever the fuck. He's lisping, they're joking about the gap. Finally, some different music hits, and out comes the real Michael Strahan. And he's talking and whatever, and he announces a match that he has it on good authority is going to happen for the main event, and that's going to be Randy Orton and Alberto Del Rio tag team match versus The Big Show and John Cena. So essentially, we're just getting the tag team version of the two title matches from last night. And we also basically got a rematch of the fucking 5-on-5 elimination tag match from last night, although only this time it was 3-on-3. Yeah, tonight was basically the night of rematches. So, but anyways, he announces the tag team match, and then Miz and Titus get to talking about, can you do a hip toss? They're talking to Strahan. Can you do a hip toss or take a hip toss or whatever the fuck? This is some dopey shit. They go through trying to give Strahan a hip toss, and he basically blocks it both times. Both Miz and Titus both try. And then they do it again, and Miz goes for it a second time, but again Strahan blocks it, and he hip tosses Miz. And whatever. And Titus is like, oh yeah, millions of dollars, and they do the stupid millions of dollars dance. I don't know why Darren Young wasn't out there, but who cares? Right, during the millions of dollars dance with Titus, Strahan hip tosses Titus too. And then Yeah, lol, whatever, we don't really care anyways. All three of them start doing the millions of dollars thing, and they piss off. So, no goddamn clue what any of that horse shit was about. Don't fucking care either. Don't know why they thought it would be a good idea to have Michael Strahan on the show, but that's not the last time we see him. Anyways, more talking about the app voting bullshit, and they cut to another commercial. After the commercial, they recap last week the Intercontinental title match between Big E and what's his fucking name? Oh yeah, Curtis Axel. That lame pile of shit who doesn't deserve to be in the company. Right. They recap him losing the belt to Big E. We cut back to the ring, and I hear Ryback's music playing, but the camera's looking at Curtis. Yeah, Ryback and Curtis are already in the ring. Now we get a tag team match. Big E comes out, and then Mark Henry comes out. So yeah, again, we get a rematch, a tag team version of a rematch from two of the matches from last night. Axel and Ryback versus Big E and Henry. Match was boring. I don't really give a fuck. The finish is Axel gets World's Strongest slammed by Henry, and Henry gets the win. So Big E and Henry win. They celebrate a little bit, whatever. The commentators say, we're going to get a rematch of the 7-on-7 elimination Divas tag team match from last night. Yes, that train wreck from last night, they felt they needed to do it again. And that's going to be up next. And they cut to a commercial. When they come back, they recap the dumb shit from the beginning, the opening segment, Cena and Authority and Randy and all that horse shit. Who cares? Moving on. And they also hype up the tag team main event, Cena and Big Show versus Alberto and Randy, and who cares. The Divas are all already in the ring. Thank God we don't have to wait through their stupid fucking entrances. So we get the Total Divas versus the True Divas, as the commentators called them. Once again, the match was shit. Did I even need to say that? I'm just going to try and breeze through this real quick. The crowd's trolling. The crowd trolled in a lot of the different matches, so that's not the first and last time you're going to hear me say that. Oksana gets eliminated by Brie. Rosa gets eliminated by Nikki. There was a botched bulldog. Oh yeah, what happened was that piece of shit Cameron came into the ring, and she was in there with Tamina. She went for like a wheelbarrow bulldog, kind of like how Rey Mysterio does. She botched the fucking hell out of it, and afterwards I think Tamina proceeded to kick her right in the fucking face for botching. And not surprisingly, or no, maybe it was Naomi, not Cameron. Yeah, it was Naomi. Naomi botched the bulldog. Who gives a fuck? She gets kicked in the face. And Naomi ends up getting eliminated by Tamina. And then Cameron comes in and gets eliminated by Tamina. And then somehow, Natalya came in and was able to beat down Tamina. Knocked her around a bit. Body slams Tamina. And then JoJo tags in. And she covers Tamina and eliminates her. JoJo, the complete fucking rookie with no real experience, just pinned Tamina, this chick who's supposed to be this badass tough chick. And JoJo didn't even have to do shit. All it was a body slam, a straight up body slam by Natalya. Whatever. After that, Alicia Fox came in for her team and beat the fuck out of JoJo and eliminated her. And then Fox gets eliminated by Eva Marie. And then Caitlyn and Natalya were in, and Caitlyn gets eliminated by Natty. AJ then comes in and eliminates Natty with like a roll-up. And then AJ gets hit with the X Factor by Brie and gets eliminated. And so now it's left with Brie and Nikki and Eva Marie are the three left on the Total Divas team, and Summer Rae's the only one on the True Divas team. So Summer comes in, and she's basically panicking. It's 3-on-1. She starts dancing. Because that's about all she's good for, right? Yeah. The Bellas, they're dancing, doing the worm, humiliating Summer, although I don't know why. Summer tries to bail out of the ring 3 times and gets blocked all 3 goddamn times by the Bellas and Eva. One of the Bellas, I forget which one, gets Summer up and basically hits Abyss's shock treatment on her. And I think that was the backbreaker thing from last night that I didn't really pay too much attention to. She basically gets her up and hits the shock treatment on her and eliminates her. So Brie and Nikki and Eva Marie survive the elimination match, and the Total Divas win again. So why we needed to redo that, I don't fucking know. But it was horse shit. It was a train wreck. Now, as I've mentioned before, I participate in a message board that discusses Raw every week and the pay-per-views and SmackDown and shit. And tonight, I was on there, and this was so good, I had to write it down, okay? And I even got the guy's username just to give him credit, because I want to be fair here. His username is jago107. Says, about the Divas division right now. The one girl who really cares more about her craft than her star power is made to be a villain, in favor of girls who just want to be famous and look pretty. That is a small excerpt from his one post there. But it's the truth. AJ is the only girl who gives a shit about her craft than being a star or being famous. And yet these other whores who do nothing but suck up to the people in power like Vince and John Laurinaitis, the Bellas and the Funkadactyls, and a lot of the other divas, they just suck up to the people in power to keep their jobs, to get their jobs in the first place. What the fuck is Eva Maria? What the fuck is she doing in this company? What the hell is JoJo doing in this company? You know what? Yeah, I finally found out the other day. I was paying attention to something with my limited attention span. I finally found out where in the hell Eva Marie and JoJo came from. They were the 2 winners of the most recent Divas Search contest. The most recent Divas Search, which wasn't even on TV. It was not televised. It wasn't on Raw or SmackDown. They did it completely off the air. And apparently Eva Marie and JoJo won. And that's the only reason they're on the show all of a sudden. Neither one of them seems to have a fucking clue what they're doing. Eva Marie was just a model before this. She's the next Kelly Kelly. Another talentless, vapid bimbo who knows nothing about wrestling, sucks up to the right people, and she just gets a job because she's pretty. And I don't know what the fuck JoJo's deal is. She can sing, whoop-de-shit. Go sing. Anyways, train wreck aside, we get a recap from last week's Broadway Brawl, the goofy country musical instrument brawl between Sandow and Ziggler, which was the gimmick match they had last week, and I guess we recap that to segue into this week's shit. But after the recap, we get more app shit, and they're saying, keep voting, you know, it's going to be coming up soon. They cut to commercial, and during the commercial, they show a thing that says we're going to be doing the Slammy Awards again in 2 weeks. Whoop-de-doo. We come back to the show. Damian Sandow is in the ring with Jerry Lawler. And Jerry tries to segue into the app vote results, but Sandow grabs the mic and starts bitching. He says, I'm above this. Whatever the fuck, you're welcome. Anyways, we finally get the app results. And the Hamptons hardcore match gets the most wins, or the most votes, so that's what we get. Ziggler comes out, and during Ziggler's entrance, I notice a bunch of stagehands bringing shit into the ring. Weapons including stuff that actually makes sense, like trash cans. There's a couple of trash cans. And then there was a bunch of shit that don't make sense, like a bunch of tennis rackets and a bunch of tennis balls complete with the little stand things that they put the tennis balls in at the tennis courts. Again, since this is supposed to be the Hamptons, it's all this rich, hoity-toity, high society bullshit. And there's even a boat oar for some reason. I don't know why. But these stagehands bring all this shit out and they put it in the ring while Ziggler's coming out, whatever. We start the damn match. And again, just like last week, despite this goofy fucking stipulation, it still turned out to be an entertaining match. They were brawling on the outside for the most part of it. Ziggler got knocked loopy for a bit, but he was able to come back. He puts trash can over Sandow's head and then drop kicks him. And after that, we got a commercial break. And back in the ring, Ziggler empties out one of the trash cans, and there's a bunch of garbage in it, like food and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? But he dumps this pile of garbage into the ring, and he grabs Sandow and gives him a neck breaker onto the pile of garbage. They brawl to the outside of the ring again, and then Sandow gets sprayed with a fire extinguisher. Back in the ring, Sandow is able to hit the You're Welcome, the full Nelson Slam, onto a trash can, and he gets the win, so Sandow wins. Okay, whatever. Cutting backstage, we see Santino's goofy face. He's backstage with Michael Strahan, and they're talking about shit. And then all of a sudden the camera looks over down a hallway, and there's Eric Rowan wearing his stupid goat mask. He pulls out another one and sticks it in Strahan's face. He doesn't say anything, by the way. Rowan apparently is mute. He don't talk. He sticks this mask in Strahan's face, and Strahan takes it, and he's like, what, you want me to put it on? Strahan puts the fucking mask on. Apparently, yeah, during this, Santino took off because he's afraid. Because he's a chicken shit, of course. After Strahan puts on the mask, though, Rowan just kind of backs away into the mist. And Santino comes back. And they're both like, what the fuck? And then Santino talks about this dumb shit, something about Thanksgiving and putting the mask on a turkey and sticking it in the oven for 5 hours at 450 degrees and then having to throw it away because it'd be burnt to hell by then. This whole thing made no fucking sense, just like the other segment with Strahan. Whatever, they cut to commercial. We come back to the ring, and Renee Young is in the ring, and she introduces CM Punk. Punk comes out. And then Renee introduces Daniel Bryan, and Bryan comes out. And this is essentially an in-ring interview segment. She asks Punk a question, and he starts talking, and basically the gist of it is Punk starts asking the crowd a bunch of questions, yes or no, and of course the answer is always yes, and Bryan's like, yes, answering for them. I don't remember what all it was. Do they keep stacking the odds against us? Yes, and do they keep blah 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 and shit? And the one main thing to take from this thing was Punk mentioned the handicap match thing. And that anytime the Authority seems to have a problem with somebody, they put him in a handicap match to screw with him. And that's basically what happened because I think I already announced it. This was supposed to be a match, Bryan and Punk versus all three of the Wyatts. And so, yeah. One more question, though. Bryan asks the last question. He says, "What time is it?" And Punk says, "It's clobbering time!" And then the Wyatts come out. And during their shitty, boring, stupid entrance, they cut to commercial break. And when they come back, the match is starting. 3-on-2 handicap match, which turned out to be decent, despite what ends up happening. The highlights, Punk hits the Macho Elbow again, and is then distracted by Wyatt. Rowan throws Punk out of the ring again like he did last night, lifting him up and throwing him out feet first. There's another commercial break. Harper does his stupid gator roll. Bryan gets tagged in and he starts getting on a roll. And he goes to lock in the yes lock on Harper, but Rowan comes in and breaks it up. And then Bryan's still on a roll, but it gets stopped. I don't remember what happened. Who cares? All of a sudden, the Wyatts don't give a shit about the match anymore. The three of them just start beating the fuck out of Bryan and Punk. And they're just beating him up. And of course, the referee has lost control. He calls for the bell. The match is thrown out. I'm going to guess the official decision was Punk and Bryan win by DQ. I don't know. There was no official announcement. But the Wyatts continue to beat down Punk and Bryan. Beating the shit out of them. Punk gets laid out. And then the Wyatts pick up Bryan. And they carry his ass out through the curtain. And they leave with him. And Punk finally comes to, and he starts to get out of the ring to go after him. And as he's getting out of the ring, he turns to his left, and there's Roman Reigns, who runs through Punk with a friggin' monstrous spear. And there's Ambrose and Rollins, who come out, and they grab Punk, they throw him back into the ring, they lift him up and triple powerbomb him. So, yeah, just like Punk said before the match, the Authority still has a problem with Punk and Bryan. So, Bryan's been abducted by the Wyatts. God only knows what's going to happen there. Considering what happened with Kane, we can only assume that Bryan will come back in a few weeks, and he'll be a heel, and he'll be with the Authority. And Punk gets taken out by the Shield. But anyways, they cut to commercial break, and when they come back, they recap what just happened. We cut backstage to The Miz, who's watching a clip from his new movie that's going straight to TV, some stupid Christmas bullshit where he's a bounty hunter. It's like a parody of Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's one of the bounty hunters, and whatever the fuck. One of his co-stars from the movie, this chick, comes up, and they're whatever the fuck, who cares? Kofi comes out, down to the ring, and we're getting another rematch from last night. While Kofi's coming out, they get a recap of last week when The Miz turned on Kofi, and we get to see that great troll face from The Miz, which was hilarious. And Miz comes out, and while he's coming out, they recap what happened last night at the pay-per-view with Miz winning. And he won with just kind of a roll-up. And so we get the match, which was actually good. It starts out with both of them trying to go for a handshake. But then, they both just slap each other in the face at the same damn time. Whatever, they wrestle around for a bit. And then Kofi hip tosses The Miz. And Kofi's like, oh yeah, the hip toss like earlier with Strahan. And this pisses off Miz. Whatever, yada yada. Kofi goes for the Trouble in Paradise, but Miz dodges it, catches him, whatever, goes for the figure 4, but Kofi kicks him off. Kofi hits the SOS, but only gets a 2 count. And then I think what happened was... Kofi went up to the top rope. And he came diving down on Miz with a crossbody, only got a 2 count. And as Kofi was kind of sitting there in disbelief that Miz had kicked out, Miz hooks him with a roll-up from the mat, just rolls him over like an Oklahoma roll, cinches him down, and gets the 3 count. So Miz wins again with a crappy roll-up. But whatever. We cut backstage to Mick Foley in another one of those goofy-ass merchandise selling segments. And he switches between the different faces of Foley, you know, Dude Love and Mankind, and I think he even did Cactus Jack, I don't know though. But whatever. After that, they hype up the tag team main event match, and they cut to another commercial. And when we come back, R-Truth comes out, and he starts talking, and we can see at ringside 3MB is there. So obviously we're getting to a match with 3MB, which, yawn. But Truth's talking, and he introduces Xavier Woods. He also happens to mention that they okayed this with Brodus Clay, and that Xavier's coming out with the Funkadactyls. And basically, Xavier comes out with the Funkadactyls to Brodus's crappy music, and they're all dancing and all this shit and whatever the fuck, and they get in the ring, and they get the pyro and everything. Who gives a shit? 3MB's still standing at ringside, and we finally see that it's going to be a singles match, Slater versus Xavier Woods. And this is Xavier's debut match, by himself at least, on Raw. And it turned out to be a decent match. The crowd was trolling. Yeah. The finish of the match is, like the other week when Xavier debuted in the tag match, he backs into the corner, and instead of saying it's morphin' time, he says, over 9,000! Which is a frickin' DBZ reference. He does the rolling and he hits the jumping clothesline. I forget what they called that, but whatever. After that, he hits the Lost in the Woods, the fucking eat, defeat, whatever the fuck, and he gets the win. And so after the match, him and Truth are celebrating, dancing with the Funkahors, and who cares? They hype up the tag team main event thing again, and they cut to commercial. And when we come back, we're back in the office, I guess, and there's Michael Strahan talking with the Bellas. The Bellas going back to being the escorts for the guest hosts. But they're talking and whatever the fuck, they piss off, and the Funkadactyls come up, and they have Michael sign their footballs that they have. They each have one, and he signs them both. And then they piss off. And then Eva Marie comes up, and she gives some of the flattest and dullest delivery on her lines. She says, I have my own show on the E! Network. And I'm like, no, bitch, you don't have your own show. You're a very small part in a show that's god-awful. Whatever. She pisses off. And then all of a sudden, Strahan's watching her leave or whatever, and from behind him you see Goldust pop up with his wig on. And Strahan turns around and sees him, and all Goldust does is his little breathing thing where he goes, and then he goes, ha! And it just scares the shit out of Strahan, and that's it. That's the end of the fucking segment. And I'm still looking for a gun to shoot myself, because this is on the dumbest, stupidest fucking shit. Oh my god, this episode of Raw fucking sucked. But anyways, After that, I think we cut to the commentators for a brief moment, I don't remember. But then they cut backstage again, and somehow Strahan has teleported to a completely different backstage area, and he's talking with John Cena. And this lasts all of about 10 seconds. And then they cut to another fucking commercial. And they show the Slammies commercial thing again. And when we come back, Randy's music hits, and he comes out to fucking no reaction. And Del Rio comes out to no reaction. And then the Big Show comes out to no reaction. And then Cena comes out to hardly any fucking reaction. And we get our tag team main event match. And the match was lame. And it was boring. And the crowd was trolling. There's a commercial break. And then the crowd was chanting for Daniel Bryan again. And we get to the big story of the match. Del Rio hits the concussion kick on Show. And because of the punt kick that Show took last night, Show starts getting all woozy and dazed, you know. Del Rio hits the concussion kick on Show again. And then Randy and Del Rio go back and forth focusing on Show's head. And it finally gets to the point where the ringside doctor has to get into the ring and interrupt the flow of the fucking match. And Big Show finally gets to his feet and he says he's okay. Randy jumps him immediately. He doesn't even wait for the doctor to get the hell out of the ring. He hits this big jumping DDT on Show. And then Randy goes for the punt kick again. He comes charging in and Big Show sees it and runs through Randy with a spear. And he's finally able to tag in Cena, who comes in and basically cleans house. Del Rio goes for the fucking cross arm breaker. Cena rolls through it right into the STF just like last night. And Del Rio taps out like the bitch that he is. And so Cena and Big Show win. But Del Rio, finally acting like a heel, decides to jump Cena from behind while Cena was going to check on Show. Show had rolled to the outside of the ring. But Cena gets jumped. But, again, just like last night, Del Rio goes for the arm breaker again. And Cena gets out of it and lifts Del Rio up, gives him the attitude adjustment. But then there's Randy, who clocks Cena with the WWE title belt. Lays Cena the fuck out. Randy goes to the outside of the ring, he goes over to the timekeeper, and he grabs the World Heavyweight title belt. And he gets back in the ring with it, and he gets both belts, and he holds them up, standing over Cena's corpse. And that's pretty much the end of the show. So, yeah, this is where this god-awful show is going for the next few weeks, leading up to the TLC pay-per-view. I'm already sick of this feud, because we've seen it way too many times before, and it's always boring, and Cena always fucking wins. And that's what is almost guaranteed to happen now. I swear, it's getting real hard to sit through Raw every Monday night. And I hate to say it, but TNA might actually be starting to look like a better option. Because I've heard just recently that Bischoff isn't really doing anything with TNA now. He basically got sent home. And Hogan's contract ran out. He's been gone for a couple of weeks now. And even though they're going back to Universal Studios to tape, Jesus, you still get better matches. You still have younger talent that are getting over and are being used better. God damn. Let's go over the matches, I guess, one more time. The first match, The Shield defeats Cody Rhodes and Goldust and Rey Mysterio. Indecent match. And then Big E Langston and Mark Henry defeat Axel and Ryback in a mostly boring match. And then the Total Divas again beat the True Divas in the 7-on-7 elimination train wreck. And then Sandow defeats Dolph Ziggler in a Hamptons hardcore match, which was good. It was entertaining, at least. Punk and Bryan versus the Wyatts goes to a no contest, essentially. And Punk gets laid out by the Shield, and Bryan gets abducted by the Wyatts. God only knows that's going to turn out to be garbage when Bryan comes back as a heel. The Miz defeats Kofi again, and it's still a good match. Xavier Woods defeats Heath Slater in a decent match. And then The Big Show and John Cena defeat Randy Orton and Alberto Del Rio in a lame tag team main event that was fucking just boring as hell to watch. Jesus Christ. I am so sick to death of having to be negative every week with this shit. It was really not enjoyable to watch this show. I'm going to go off on a tangent here just for a second if I can. Like I said, the crowd was dead for most of this show. And they had a good reason to be dead. I want to be perfectly clear about that. This show is getting so bad every week. People should be leaving early and asking for refunds. Because honestly, if I paid money to go to the arena and sit there and watch this garbage for 3 damn hours, when I could be at home watching something better or doing something else, having much more fun, I would definitely do that. I would be mad if I paid money to sit in the arena for this show. And I would have asked for my money back because the show sucked. They're basically teasing that Bryan's going to come back as a heel, which is going to completely ruin his character. They've basically said that Big Show's completely out of the title hunt, and it's just going to be Randy and Cena in basically a unification TLC match at the TLC pay-per-view. This sucks so bad, and it's getting so old. The WWE is so hurting for star power at this point that they're resorting to the same old feud that was stale 4 or 5 years ago. Cena and Orton one more goddamn time. They refuse to make new stars. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk could be in the title hunt. You could at least make it interesting. They refuse to make new stars. They refuse to bring up more new people from NXT. And the Divas division is hurting so bad. You could bring up some of the new girls from NXT. But they refuse to make new stars. You have guys that are good wrestlers, that can cut good promos, and I have said this so many times before. I don't want to repeat myself, but Jesus Christ. Ugh. They refuse to make new stars, and then they wonder why the crowd is dead half of the show, or more than half of the show. I'd have been dead if I was in the audience, man. I'd have left early and went to the ticket counter and asked for a fucking refund. Little bit of advice. I know not a whole lot of people watch the show, but hopefully the people that do watch hear this message and spread it around to your friends, the other people you know that watch wrestling, maybe people you know that actually go to shows, they go to Raw, SmackDown live events, and they watch, and maybe even they pay a lot more money to go to pay-per-views. This is some advice I can give you guys. Stop giving them reactions to the people you don't like. Randy Orton's boring as fuck, Cena's stale as hell and sucks, Vicky Guerrero is an obnoxious cunt. Don't give them reactions whatsoever. And the same thing goes for Triple H and Stephanie. Don't react to them. The way this business works, whether you get a reaction, whether it's positive or negative, whether you're getting a cheer or a boo, it doesn't matter which one you get. If you're getting a reaction, you're doing your job. It's when you get no reaction at all. That's when people start to disappear. When you get no reaction, that means the people are so sick of you that they don't care anymore. And when people stop caring about your character disappears. Stop giving them reactions. If you don't want to see Randy Orton, if you don't want to see John Cena, if you don't want to see Vicky Guerrero or Triple H or Stephanie McMahon, don't give them a reaction. Don't cheer them. Don't boo them. Don't make positive or negative signs about them to show in the crowd. I know people like to make signs for the show. Hell, I've been to Raw a couple of times and I made my own signs. I know what that's like. But if you don't like somebody, if you don't want to see them anymore, don't give them any reaction whatsoever. Don't make a sign about them, whether it's positive or negative. You don't give them any reaction at all. Just sit there with your arms crossed and wait for them to shut the hell up and leave. And if we ignore them for long enough, they will go away for good. And whether they come back with a new gimmick or a new character, continue to not react. Just continue to sit there and be silent. And let them drown in their own mediocrity. It is time for a change. And the people need to get behind this. Stop reacting to this shit. Stop giving them what they want, because what they want is a reaction. If you don't give them one, they won't be around much longer, okay? Seriously. If you go to the arena and you pay your money, you have the right to act however you want and react however you want. Stop giving them what they want. End of tangent, I guess. Just fucking hell, man. It's getting so hard to watch this shit. It really is. There's so many other things I'd rather be doing. I could be playing GTA Online right now. I actually have some fun with that. Yeah, I actually have some fun with that. Hey, there's a new idea. I have some fun. Yay! I have other games that I play. I'm sure you've seen the other Let's Plays that I do. But anyways, that's the end of the show. Once again, Raw from November 25th, 2013, Long Island, New York. That was Raw. It was terrible. Please stop reacting to these horses' asses. Let them know that we are sick to death of seeing the same garbage over and over again. We want something new. We want to see new people. New people with fresh characters that we can get behind, that we can relate to. Let them know. Make sure your voice is heard. But again, that was Raw, November 25th, 2013, Long Island, New York. Once again, the show sucked. That's it for the Wrestling Rant tonight. We'll see you next time. And hopefully it'll be better next time.